Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. In the top stories, one person has died and several others injured as a result of a story building under construction which collapsed at the Ngange neighborhoods in Douala early today. Accusing fingers point at poor materials used for the construction of the building and equally the heavy downpour that hits the city of Douala today. And equally 135 inmates detained in connection to the Anglophone crisis in the Douala Central Prison have issued a disclaimer distancing themselves from the back-to-school campaign launched by Mancho BBC and other detainees of the Anglophone crisis in Yaoundé. To them, schools cannot resume until the problems that caused the schools to shut down are resolved. And equally, the Buea Central Prison, initially constructed to host 400 inmates, now hosts over 1,000 prisoners as a result of the Anglophone crisis due to the arbitrary arrest and detention of civilians. Details and more in this edition of the newscast. Once again, good evening. Thanks for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. One person has died and several others injured as a result of a story building under construction that collapsed at the Ngange neighborhoods here in the economic capital Douala. Accusing fingers points at poor construction materials used for the construction of the building and equally the heavy downpour that hit the city of Douala today. The victims have been conveyed to the New Bell Hospital where they are undergoing treatment. Hemin Eluga was there and put together the following report.
It is a building in construction which, according to first-hand information, suddenly collapsed at about 7 a.m. this morning in the Ngange neighborhood here in Douala. In the morning by 7:10 a.m., I witnessed the collapse of the building. Suddenly, huge clouds of dust saturated the air. The incident provoked enormous panic this early morning as inhabitants stayed doubtful on the number of casualties the crumbled four-level building left. It is a four-level building. Luckily, no one was in the church below. As it's now, we can't tell if others were trapped in the building or not, because workers were supposed to arrive this morning. We are all worried. We want to know if there are other victims. Unfortunately for the locals, immediate findings led to the discovery of one of theirs, a situation which leaves them in total shock. Our friend commonly called Bakanja by name Tala Theto Breeze, who woke up this morning and spoke with a few neighbors. He returned to his room later on to have a rest. That's how the building collapsed on him. By the time we left the scene site, elements of the National Gendarmerie were present as they took the mortal remains of the young victim to the New Bells District Hospital's mortuary.
And a hotel situated at Newtown Limbe has been consumed by wild flames early today. The incident occurred this morning and caught many of the inhabitants by surprise. The real cause of the fire is not yet known, but many continue to decry the absence of a firefighting unit in Fako Division. The population had to watch as the hotel burnt into ashes and the fire began from the top of the story building. Some of the onlookers assisted to quench the flames while waiting for firefighters to intervene, but they're still raising complaints while there is absence of a firefighting unit in Fako Division of the Southwest region to facilitate or quench flames when need be. And now we talk about human rights activists and millions of persons across the globe that have taken to social media to condemn the acts committed by some unidentified armed men who tortured 3 women. The rights organizations have cursed the armed men for inflicting such pains on the women and their children. Samanjukan Gabriel reports.
The about 3 minutes video spread like wildfire on the social media this Wednesday. In the video, some alleged separatist fighters were seen torturing 3 women, 2 of whom had babies in Bali, a locality in Mezam division of the Northwest region. According to the unidentified armed men, the women were serving as spies and leaking information to soldiers about their hideout as well as providing them with food. The women were seriously beaten with cables, sticks and kicked by these unidentified armed men in the middle of the road as their children cried helplessly. Another video showing the 4 alleged separatist fighters who molested the women later circulated on social media this Wednesday, indicating they had been apprehended by their colleagues and being questioned for the acts committed, and they said the women were carrying food and suspected it was meant for soldiers, given that it was a ghost town day. Notwithstanding the publication of the second video, civil society activists have reacted to the incident. The Center for Human Rights and Democracy of Barrister Agbobala Felix Nkongom, in a statement, condemns such barbarism and called on all armed separatists to exercise restraint on attacks against civilians and observe the principles of human rights and humanitarian law. They also called on the state to investigate such human rights abuses and to put in place conditions that ensure the protection of women and children considered to be the most vulnerable in crisis situation. Another reaction came from the Northwest and Southwest Women's Task Force, who have also condemned rights abuses on women and babies. Human Rights Watch, in its latest outing this week, accused Ambazonian separatists of kidnapping politicians, students and the clergy in the Northwest and Southwest regions.
And some 135 inmates in the New Bel Central Prison, Douala, have issued a disclaimer distancing themselves from the Back to School campaign launched by Mancho BBC Coffin Revolution leader and other detainees of the Anglophone crisis in Yaoundé. In the disclaimer, they say schools can only resume when the problems that led to school shutdown are addressed. The New Bel Central Prison inmates denounced the recent outing of Mancho BBC, which to them was not consensual. Over 600,000 children, according to UNESCO, have lost track of education since 2016. Human rights groups and international organizations have urged both military and separatist fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon to pave way for effective and smooth resumption of schools in Anglophone Cameroon come September 2019. I will now take you to Buea, chief town of the southwest region, where the Buea Central Prison, initially constructed to host 400 inmates, now hosts over 1,000 prisoners as a result of the Anglophone crisis that has led to the arbitrary arrest and detention of civilians who are known to be promoting a secession in that part of the southwest region, and equally the fact that they are supporting the separatist movement. Derry Jato, our southwest region correspondent, has more.
Buea Central Prison.
A prison that was built for about, 300 to 400 inmates and 1,000 something. So the living condition normally will not be encouraging. But the situation is still getting worse because of this crisis. Many innocent people are here suffering in prison. And the earlier the government step in for this crisis to be resolved, the better.
And Barrister Loktabo Evans Tingom says he is a friend to these inmates.
Most of the cases I do for inmates here in prison are pro bono. They are free of charge.
And after organizing a football match between those awaiting trial and those already sentenced here at the Buea Central Prison, the barrister at law told these inmates to follow the footsteps and courage of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years of his life in prison. And today, he is the most celebrated the world over.
Nelson Mandela fought for the rights of blacks in South Africa. My own little contribution too, as somebody born in July, is this is my own way to fight too for the rights of the less privileged behind bars. So the spirit of Nelson Mandela is still the same spirit in me. That is my mentor.
Apart from coming with his family and friends, the legal mind also brought with him some basic needs to this Buea Central Prison inmate. Spending his day of birth with those behind bars this Nelson Mandela's week, to Barrister Loktabo Evans Tingom, was a show of solidarity.
And we take you to Bamenda, precisely in Besi Awom, a village in Batibo subdivision that has a new fund. His Royal Highness Ba Wilfred Fokum III has been presented to his people. And Bostella completes that story, equally adding that he has launched a campaign to ensure that normalcy returns in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon and the Northwest region in particular.
Preachers from various pulpits have prayed and are still praying for peace in Cameroon's two English-speaking regions in particular and the nation at large. Despite government strides aimed at restoring peace in the restive regions, lives are still being lost, persons kidnapped and ransoms demanded, houses and property looted and burned, and youth radicalization is on the increase. The war is yet to end.
We are not satisfied with what is going on in our country because we lost a lot of our brothers, sisters, and more raping, lack of education, and common initiative things that have happened in this country. Peace is the key of success. Violence can never give us what we want.
Individuals and non-governmental organizations have been proposing solutions. The Movement for Democracy, Development and Transparency is one of them. They want the guns to go silent for dialogue to take place.
It's not news anymore of the number of deaths registered, refugees that we have, the fact that schools are not going on in the Anglophone regions, apart from a few strategic towns. This project is therefore to call for a peaceful resolution of the Anglophone crisis through dialogue, and that youth should amplify their voices to call on government to revisit these articles so that we can have inclusive dialogue without preconditions. And on the pertinent issues that we must not run from, we know that there are pertinent issues in the country: secession, federation, and decentralization. We must come to the table, despite Article 64, to discuss the way forward for this country. We must be able to reset, to reformat our brains and come back to the drawing board and see a way forward. It is not a taboo for us to have these discussions.
The youths dream of a better country if and only if there is peace among brothers in the restive regions and the country as a whole.
Our differences is what we should understand, that it's not a dividing factor, it should be a unifying factor, and it should be the reason why we should be proud of the development that no other country in the world has, because we are a country of diverse cultures, diverse religions, diverse beliefs.
Attending this advocacy meeting are persons from different backgrounds. Some have been kicked out of their villages by the war.
Everything got burned, so I don't know how the era is. The tears that was coming down my eye, they are no more coming down again. So I'm very grateful to God because I'm alive.
This story and more are just some out of the many happenings. Those who died cannot tell their stories. There is therefore the need for a return to normalcy.
I will now take you to Gaoundéré in the Adamawa region, where firefighting units have forwarded some of their challenges to Lieutenant Colonel Jules Gaka, head of operation, training and prevention. This was during a walking visit he paid to them that's in the Adamawa chief town. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
The firefighting unit in Gaoundéré in the Adamawa region is plagued with numerous challenges ranging from inadequate water points, slow interventions, and the limited number of big lorries for the storage of water. It is for this reason why Lieutenant Colonel Jules Gaka, head of operations, visited the Gaoundéré firefighting unit. While there, he stressed on the importance of being time conscious in case of any fire incident.
Gaoundéré is a big city now, and different points of intervention are so large for firefighters. So we need people here in Gaoundéré to call quickly, so that the firefighter and rescue men will move rapidly.
He acknowledged the fact that his boys are not 100% perfect in terms of know-how, but thinks with the continuous training given to them, better results should be expected in the days ahead.
Okay, we are so demanding for our guys that I cannot say they are 100% good. There are some things they need to improve. The more important thing for firefighting is the training. If they are trained every day and respecting what we are looking for them.
Lieutenant Colonel Jules Gaka's visit to Gaoundéré was to confirm that the local authorities are respecting the basic rules of firefighting. He called on the government to assist them with basic working tools so as to ease work.
And we also hope that the administrative personnel hierarchy of Gaoundéré city will give up firefighters some means, because there are some something lacking, an important thing lacking for a city like Gaoundéré, like the hydrants, to have to refuel their tank if water they need to go.
He expressed satisfaction towards the exercise carried out by the staff and called on the population to work in collaboration with the Gaoundéré firefighting unit.
The smart sites of the AFCON 2019 is up next. And we welcoming, as usual, Smanjukan Gabriel. Good evening, Smanjukan, and welcome.
Yes, good evening to you, Innocent Aze, and good evening to our televiewers this evening.
And we'll begin by looking at the third place match of the 2019 AFCON that played yesterday. Nigeria still having another defeat over Tunisia.
Yes, Nigeria recording a victory over Tunisia, not having a defeat, because having a defeat implying is Tunisia that defeated Nigeria.
Exactly.
So Nigeria that recorded a win over Tunisia. That was yesterday. It was an interesting game, a very, very wonderful match. Unfortunately, well, we know that game for the Carthage Eagles and, of course, Super Eagles of Nigeria ended in favor of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, thanks to an early goal that was scored by Odion Igalo in that encounter. We know that Odion Igalo this far stands as the top goal scorer of that competition. As you know, it was a very, very tough encounter, and the lone goal, as we mentioned, came at the 3rd minute of play, and that was when Odion Igalo actually benefited from an error of the Tunisian defense to hitting that goal, and that happens to be the 5th goal for Odion Igalo in this African Cup of Nations, the 5th goal, still keeping him as the top goal scorer of this tournament. But unfortunately, Odion Igalo, after scoring that goal, had some time on the pitch before he limped off after sustaining an injury. He had a knee injury, or having a little bit of injury that pushed him out of the competition. So it ended with the Super Eagles of Nigeria being the happier side, while the Tunisian side actually regretted for not taking the opportunities they had also created, maybe to actually extend the game to extra time. It ended 1-0 in favor of Tunis, in favor of Nigeria at the end of the third place encounter. And talking about the other side of the game, remember it is not an affair of awarding the medals of the third place maybe on the D-Day, that is the finals, when they play the finals. This time around, all of the players of Nigeria who ended the tournament on the third place were happy recipients of a medal, that is the bronze medal of the competition which they received. And we are recalling that the Nigerian team that came to the African Nations Cup this far seems to be the youngest amongst all the participating teams or countries that were at the African Cup of Nations. So the coach is hoping, and the coach Gernot Rohr thinks there is a future, a brighter future for the football of Nigeria. And talking about other aspects of the game, remember after this match you had the likes of Kalu and also Ahmed Musa, who decided to showcase their medal. This is out of the pitch. We followed them right behind to actually showcase their medal. And of course it was with one a journalist of Super Sport out there in South Africa. They had time to mingle together out there in Egypt. And talking about Nigeria, they have a record keeping the third place keeping a third place at the position in the African Cup of Nations. We are recalling that it is the 8th time Nigeria is recording that feat, and they have never been beaten whenever they arrive at the third place encounter. So it is like the third place. Whenever they are there, the country that is there should just be prepared that it is going to be there. It is the 8th reserve for them. That is the 8th third place that Nigeria are picking up at in the history of the African Cup of Nations. And we are recalling that the last time Tunisia picked up a third place medal was in 1962. That was when they defeated Uganda by 3-0. But this time around, unfortunately for them, we told you earlier on, that was yesterday, that Tunisia and Nigeria, Tunisia has never had it easy when they meet Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations. Now, talking about one key player of the Super Eagles, we are talking about John Obi Mikel, who has decided to stop his international football career after spending 15 years. So John Obi Mikel, after winning the bronze medal yesterday, has decided to withdraw and resign from international football. He has been there for 15 years and he has decided to stick. He has decided to stay back. He has decided to stay back at the African after the win that they recorded yesterday. Now, we actually met some of the coaches too at the end of the games. Gernot Rohr, or let me say Gernot Rohr first. We met him. We had Gernot Rohr or Alain Giresse in the post-interview. They were all having hopes. Maybe talking about this image, that is Alain Giresse, who is actually happy that they started the tournament limping, but at a certain stage of the tournament they picked up steam. Unfortunately, they couldn't beat Nigeria at the third place, but he hopes for a better tomorrow for the Carthage Eagles. They say the next AFCON will be a better one for them, and even the World Cup that will be coming up. Talking about Gernot Rohr, whom also spoke to the press at the end of that victory, he said they are satisfied with the third place, even though they managed to beat Africa's second best team for now, according to FIFA ranking. It was a good one, and he has always told his players that if they win a small final, is better than playing a big final without a victory. So he says he's very positive with the performance of Nigeria in future. That is it for Gernot Rohr. And we were talking about Gernot Rohr and Alain Giresse. It is not the first time both are meeting. It's not the first time. These two have actually had a time together at Girondins de Bordeaux, that is in France. They have been teammates out there, and we know they spent almost 9 years together at Girondins de Bordeaux from 1977 till 1986. So they were meeting each other after a long while. They were teammates at Girondins de Bordeaux.
And tomorrow, Friday, will be finals of the 2019 AFCON. That will be between Algeria and Senegal. And both teams are already preparing. They have press conferences that are taking place as well to actually enlighten the population of the various countries on how the match is going to look like.
Yes, there were press conferences. There is a pre-match press conference that took place today out there in Egypt. The match is going to be played at 8 p.m. Cameroon time. And the press conference first, we started with Aliou Cissé. Aliou Cissé, who is the head coach for the Teranga Lions of Senegal, says he has been there for 5 years and it was an honor that he's arriving at the finals. He respects his opponents and says it's going to be a complicated match, but he said there is going to be a difference that will be created. Now, Aliou Cissé was at a press conference with Crépin Diatta. Crépin Diatta is a player of the Senegalese side. Crépin Diatta says he is proud to represent his country and is going to give everything to actually see Senegal pick a win at the end of the day. Now, another person who spoke at the press conference, we had some caption of Jamel Belmadi. Jamel Belmadi is the head coach of the Desert Foxes of Algeria. He says a victory for them is going to be one for the people back at home, and he says he actually spoke with Aliou Cissé. Remember, these two guys are local coaches that have once been captains to their different selection, and now they are playing at the finals. It was a great thing for them. He spoke with him and he actually said that the first time they will be meeting, everyone wants to create history. Adeline Gudera is a player of the Desert Foxes. He says there is no, if you want to discover a great cook, then you must actually taste his food. And he says the match tomorrow is going to be a do or die encounter between the Algerian side, that is the Desert Foxes, and the Teranga Lions of Senegal. And innocent to know that yesterday we had a match between eagles, all of them though in the same family. When we have to go through biology, they're in the same family. Yes. This time around we are having another encounter involving two animals. They are also in the same family, the Desert Foxes and also the Teranga Lions. All of them are almost alike. And talking about other aspects of this African Cup of Nations, remember tomorrow it is either Adam Unas scores 2 goals to meet up with Ojo Igalo, Riyad Mahrez scores 2 goals to meet up with Ojo Igalo, or Sadio Mane scores 2 goals to meet up with Ojo Igalo. The top goal scorers as we stand is Ojo Igalo of Nigeria, who still leads the chart with 5 goals. He scored the other goal that was yesterday, the lone goal that saw Nigeria finishing 3rd place. Adam Unas of Algeria is still in the competition. Certainly he is going to play tomorrow. Cedric Bakambu is already out of the competition. Riyad Mahrez is still present with Algeria, 3 goals. And Sadio Mane of Senegal is also still present with 3 goals. So that is it for the top goal scorer of the tournament. Good news for Cameroon again. They will be the one to officiate the finals of the African Cup of Nations. We are talking about the men in black. We have Aliou Cissé, the man in the middle, who is going to be the main referee of the game. The main referee of the game between the finals between Senegal and Algeria, and he's going to be assisted by 2 other Cameroonians, Mekwande Evariste and Elvis Nupwe. Those are the guys that will be handling the finals of the African Cup of Nations. It is an honor for Cameroon, and we know what they have been doing after 2 or 3 games that they have handled out there in Egypt. And now talking about something out of the African Cup of Nations, CAF is presently meeting in their 41st Ordinary Assembly meeting. CAF is meeting as we speak, and after that meeting, we hear draws for the 2021 qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations are already ongoing out there in Cairo, and I want to bet you those are the different pots that we have. But the first pairings that we already have here for the 2021 AFCON that will be hosted by Cameroon, we have South Sudan that will take on Seychelles, Mauritius Island will take on Sao Tome, Djibouti will take on Zambia. Those for the preliminary rounds. In Group C of this competition, we have Ghana, South Africa, Sudan, Mauritius or Sao Tome and Principe. So the draw for the qualifiers of the African Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021 is ongoing. Maybe by tomorrow when we come, we shall have a complete setup. You remember, after the Nations Cup, the players will have just some few times to rest. By August, September, the qualifiers will begin and they will end late 2021 or 2020, getting to 2021, when we might know those countries, 24 countries that will be coming to Cameroon for the African Nations Cup 2021. But before that, we know there will be a trial tournament here in Cameroon, the African Nations Championship that they call CHAN, that will be hosted by Cameroon.
Smanjukan Gabriel, the AFCON 2019 will be ending tomorrow. Yet it is good news for Cameroon despite the elimination of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Cameroon is still highly represented, and that will be tomorrow. The colors will still be brandished.
That is it. And the referees are those who are going to be representing us, and we are proud of them because they have been doing a great work. It is thanks to their great work that they have been trusted to handle the last encounter of the African Cup of Nations. Tomorrow, we shall be back to give you the previews and some statistics you don't know about Senegal and Algeria in the history of the African Cup of Nations.
Thanks so much, Smanjukan Gabriel. And that final will be at 8 p.m. and you'll get the statistics that will be during the 6 p.m. newscast tomorrow. That's it for this edition of the newscast. Thanks so much for watching. Do have a wonderful evening.